Millions of senior citizens could see a huge increase very soon. Lawmakers in Congress have announced that they will be increasing monthly benefit payments for Social Security recipients. Democrats and Republicans will be taking huge action this week as well. So those receiving Social Security benefits can count on their monthly payments being adjusted annually to account for inflation. This is especially important to maintain purchasing power for older people who often live on a fixed budget, as rising prices hit their pocketbooks harder. This year, the Social Security Administration implemented a historic cost of living adjustment of 5.9%, the highest in decades. The increase will raise the average monthly amount that the agency pays individual retired workers to around $1,657, and couples that both receive benefits to $2,753. According to the agency, despite the record boost to monthly payments to Social Security recipients, there are warnings that the buying power is falling behind. An update in October to an ongoing inflation study by the Senior Citizens League found that the Social Security benefits had lost 32% of their purchasing power since 2000. Mild inflation in 2020 helped improve buying power of Social Security benefits, cutting the loss to 28% by January 2021 from 30%. But inflation in the early months of the year saw all gains wiped out, and the loss of purchasing power deepened by midsummer. Mary Johnson, a Social Security policy analyst, said this week, to put it in perspective, for every $100 worth of groceries a retiree could afford in 2000, they can only buy $68 worth today. The Senior Citizens League would like to see a modest increase in benefits to help protect their purchasing power. Additionally, they would like the Social Security Administration to either guarantee at least a 3% annual adjustment to benefits or use the CPI index for the elderly to calculate future COLAs. The group also launched a campaign for a $1,400 check for beneficiaries to counter the effects of high inflation. A recent 2021 Social Security Trustees report found that without action by Congress, retirees will start to receive lower benefit payments in 2034. The Social Security Administration will run out of access funds in 2034 from the trust that finances monthly payments. Starting then, retirees will only receive 78% of their full benefit. Now, legislation has been introduced by Democratic lawmakers on Capitol Hill called the Social Security 2100. The bill incorporates all the expansions that President Biden promised while running for the White House. The proposal would make some long overdue changes to Social Security, the last major legislative changes that were made in 1983. Some of the main features of the bill include modest boosts to benefits across the board, requiring people earning over $400,000 to contribute to the trust fund due to payroll tax, and extends the depletion date to 2038. There are still many people in the nation who are waiting their tax refund, but the IRS have admitted that the delays are down to worker shortages. The commissioner said this week that the crisis is continuing to affect the speed at which tax refunds are going out, as well as the several tax changes this year as a result of the federal relief measures. While more than 63 million refunds have gone out for a combined $204 billion, with this coming from a total of 89 million returns, there are still roughly 2.7 million paper returns from 2021 and 2.3 million returns from 2022 that are still waiting to be processed. In a typical year, this figure would be closer to a million. The average tax refund payment this year so far stands at $3,352, which is an increase on last year's average of $2,800. So friends, one way of speeding up the time it takes to get your tax refund is by filing your taxes electronically.
The so-called Competitiveness Act. Do we need to increase computer chip production in the United States? Yes, we do. But we need to do it in a way that does not provide massive amounts of corporate welfare to an already enormously profitable industry. In my view, it makes 0 sense to provide $53 billion in corporate welfare. That is a blank check. Here it is, microchip industry. No strings attached, no protections for the American taxpayer to the microchip industry. And as part of this legislation, in addition, I don't know how many people know this, some may think I'm actually kidding when I say this, but this legislation provides $10 billion in bailout to Jeff Bezos, the second wealthiest person in America, who's worth over $180 billion, so that his company, Blue Origin, can launch a rocket ship to the moon. a word about the microchip industry. We are talking about an industry that has shut down over 780 manufacturing plants in the United States and eliminated 150,000 American jobs over the last 20 years while moving most of its production overseas. Got that? So this is an industry that said, hey, we're making money, but we can make even more money by going to low-wage countries. Let's do that. Let's throw 150,000 American workers out on the street. We're going to go abroad. Now, in terms of this $53 billion ballot, nobody knows exactly who will be receiving that money. My guess is that the bulk of that money will go to 5 major semiconductor companies, and that is Intel, Texas Instruments, Micron Technology.
Congress is now negotiating on monthly recurring stimulus payments, and this could mean stimulus relief checks every month for everybody that's eligible. That's the good news. So if you are on Social Security and SSI, you'll also want to be sure to watch this video. So in an effort to safeguard against any future recessions, senators and the White House are now considering setting up automatic relief payments for the next time the economy takes another significant dip. The Economic Security Project has already talked with 50 staff members from the Senate Finance Committee that's on automatic stabilizers. This would mean that the automatic stabilizers would be tied to the state of the economy. The organization also had conversations with Joe Biden's administration, and he's hopeful that the measure will be included in the final draft of the bill. Automatic stimulus checks would really be helpful to millions of Americans. The Economic Security Project has already talked with 50 staff members from the Senate Finance Committee on automatic stabilizers alone. This would mean that the automatic stabilizers are going to be tied back to the state of the economy with Joe Biden's administration, and he's hopeful that the measure will be included in the final draft of the bill. Automatic stimulus checks are definitely going to be helpful to many people. As the country fights poverty and unemployment rate rises, more payments will be sent out. Automatic stabilizers are often tied to unemployment rates, and many lawmakers are pushing for plans that would issue broad or targeted payments based on the state of unemployment. So when unemployment is high, as it was in March 2020, payments will be sent out to a broad group of people. As it drops, payments will become more concentrated on lower class and working class communities, who are adversely affected by the crisis. As relief measures go, stimulus checks and unemployment insurance are not cheap fixes that would help the economic problems plaguing America right now. Folks, in addition to that, the 3-round stimulus checks alone cost more than $580 billion. Of course, Republicans have voiced opposition to this. The White House has backed automatic stabilizers for unemployment insurance, and Kamala Harris supported recurring payments.